and then we will share the prayer, and Karpagam is going to start the prayer.
Could you do the prayer, Raghuji?
Okay. Geeta, you want to do it?
Yes.
I'll try because I have never done this one before.
Okay.
Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Saraswatyai Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Om Samasta Janakalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidwaram. ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः यतः सर्वाणि भूतानि प्रतिभान्ति स्थितानि च यत्रैवोपशमं यान्ति तस्मै सत्यात्मने नमः ज्ञाता ज्ञानं तथा ज्ञेयं द्रष्टा दर्शनदृश्यभूः कर्ता हेतुः क्रिया यस्मात् तस्मै ज्ञात्यात्मने नमः स्फुरन्ति सीकरा यस्मात् आनन्दस्याम्बरे वनौ सर्वेषां जीवनं तस्मै ब्रह्मानन्दात्मने नमः देवि भूमौ तथाकाशे बहिरन्तश्च मे विभुः यो विभात्य वभासात्मा तस्मै सर्वात्मने नमः.
Here it is Devi, not Devi.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
There's only.
Divi Bhumo, okay.
Okay. Okay, Karpagam, you want to do the summary, Amma? From 139 page, that is from beginning of the Stita Prakarana up to 149 page.
The world as a mysterious painting. We have listened the knowledge of self from Utpati Prakarana. This chapter will lead us to the establishment of self. The world process is compared to a mysterious painting without any paint, brush, or the painter. The monkeys during winter season sit around kunja fruit, which is the red colored, give the illusion of fire. They derive warmth from it, from their imagination. The world is as illusory as the fire of kunja fruit. And our monkey minds continue to seek happiness from it. This world process is false as a mirage, no reality of its own. Brahman alone is the reality. By spiritual inquiry, if the illusion can be dispelled, like a stem of a plantain tree. The different philosophies describe the world process as inert, ignorance, void, momentary. Then Sri Rama asks, if the world process does not exist in reality, then why the sages maintain that it exists in seed form during Mahapralaya? The sage replies, this view is maintained to help the ignorant. Just like a shadow does not exist in sunshine or frost in fire, the world process does not exist. It is illusory. When the illusion is negated by knowledge, the self alone remains. Even if you consider the world exists as a seed during Mahapralaya, then there must exist another element, that could awaken the seed from its dormant state and lead to germination and growth, where that element comes from. By exercising reason, the Brahman, the self, has itself manifested into the world process. The world process has never been created. It is only the ignorant mind that has sustained the illusion of world process. The pure consciousness alone is, and all this is Brahman. When ignorance and its effects like desire, subtle carvings, karmic expressions are destroyed, the world is absolutely annihilated. As long as the mental process continue to entertain, then this world continue to be a reality. Just as objects in a painting are nothing but paint on a canvas, the same way, everything in this world is nothing but mind superimposed over Brahman. While the ignorant with false knowledge continue to experience the world process, the enlightened shakes off the illusion of the world process and abide in the self. Sri Rama asks, is it possible for the creator Brahman to create the world by the use of his memory alone? The sage replied, yes, indeed. Brahma creates the world by the function of his memory. The world is Brahma's mental creation alone that assumed the form of world process. During Mahapralaya, Brahma becomes merged into Absolute. It is impossible for the next Brahma to create the world from the past. The world is illusory, sustained by the reality of Brahman. For the enlightened, there is nothing but the boundless expansion of self, while for the ignorant, there is the endless expansion of world process. When the world is viewed as Brahman, it leads to the state of blessedness. And when one sees the difference and multiplicity, one continues to wander from death to birth to death. The sage continued, O Rama, the mastery over the mind and senses is the key to cross over the world process. By developing viveka, study of sacrifice, study of the scripture, and good association are the best means of mastering the senses. Mind is the root of the tree of karma, and when the mind is destroyed, the karmic tree is eradicated. When the mind is negated, the disease world process is no longer exist. The body is just a projection of mind. A person cannot aware of his body without his mind. Without the mind, the body cannot perceive anything. The mind conceives the difference between externality and internality and wander through the self-created dreams. It is the mind that enters into bondage. It is the mind that attains the liberation from the world process by self-knowledge. Just as the fragrance of flower abides in and emanates from it, the world abides in and arises out of the mind. Once the reality of the world is negated through the mind allows itself to merge into the absolute. Sri Rama asked, please explain to me how it is possible for the vast universe to exist within the mind. The sage told the story of Shukracharya, the son of sage Bigru. The father and son lived in the beautiful valley of mountain Mandarachala. Once his father was absorbed in Nirvikalpa Samadhi, Shukracharya was watching the beautiful sights of nature when he witnessed an apsara flying through the sky. He lost all awareness of his body and mentally became one with apsara. With his eyes closed, he traveled to the heavenly world and was delighted to see the apsara, and the apsara was delighted to see him too. They sported in the banks of Mandakini river, and after exhausting their meritorious karmas, fell on earth. Shukracharya was born on a Brahmin family and again met the Apsara and had a male child. He was attached to the sun and forgot all his spiritual discipline. He eventually died, and his thoughts were directed to worldly objects. He was born as the son of a king and ruled Madra. He died and he reborn as a son of ascetic. After practicing intense austerity by the bank of Samanga river, he overcomes the impression of raga and other mental affiliation. The story continues. Hari Om.
Very good. Nice summary, Amma. Thank you. So you can see that as is in every chapter, that the Vasisht Rishi giving beautiful stories, examples to make his point that how this world is illusory. Just like the dream is illusory, even the waking state is illusory. And to make that point, he is giving the beautiful story of the Shukracharya, who was born to the mind-born son of the Bhrigu. And so he must be an extremely pure-souled person, Jiva. But once being born, he was as much what you call susceptible to the beauties of the world and get attached to that apsara. So that's how the story goes, and we will continue to see that one. So, okay, you want to continue to read?
Okay. Section 9 and 10. The state of the body of Shukracharya. Sri Vasishtha continued, O Rama, while the mind of Shukracharya continued to experience the celestial pleasure, followed by its numerous embodiment, his physical body in the Mandarachala mountains became emaciated and dehydrated by the action of the sun and wind. It fell down like a tree, cut at its roots.
The camera is off.
It was only because of the spiritual power of sage Bhrigu that the animals of the forest had given up their natural instinct of violence and did not devour the remains of Shukracharya. Soon the body was reduced to a skeleton. The wind blowing through the holes of the skull created strange sounds. The grinning teeth seemed to ridicule the vanity of worldly pleasure. Scorched by the raging sun, tossed by the fierce winds, and drenched in torrential rain, the poor body of Shukracharya became the very embodiment of ugliness and inauspiciousness. Do you want to continue, or
You want to comment?
well, it's what happened to the body? Well, it described what happened to the body.
Right. So you can see that how the jiva left the body. That's the difference that we see here between what happened to his father, who was in deep meditation in Nirvikalpa Samadhi, compared to the son, whose mind was not in Nirvikalpa Samadhi, whose mind was going everywhere. And so let us keep that in mind and continue to see what happens. So, okay, Karpakam Madhu Kukkala here today. No, Mano Naidu, continue, Amma.
After a long state of samadhi, Sri Bhrigu came back to normal consciousness. He looked for his dear son Shukracharya and finding him absent, wandered through the ashram forests until he found the dead body. It was dried up like a stick, and little birds had nestled in the crevices of the skeleton. The rib cage appeared like a cave, and where once shone the beautiful eyes, worms began to abide. While frogs rested under the body, spiders wove cobwebs around it. Overcome by sorrow at the untimely death of his son, sage Brigu prepared to curse the spirit of time by the force of his anger. Seeing this, Kala, the time spirit, appeared before him in person. The spirit of time was endowed with a strange mystic beauty. He had 6 arms on each side, 12 arms corresponding to the 12 months, 6 faces corresponding to the 6 seasons of India, and he was decked with ornaments and armor and held celestial weapons. Fires emanated from the trident that he held, and all directions were illuminated by his presence. These 2 paragraphs really.
then read the next one to him.
Okay. Having approached sage Brigu, the time spirit said in a voice as deep as the sea, O sage, great men are not overcome by delusion, even when others have committed a wrong towards them. You are giving vent to your anger without investigating into the truth of the matter.
Yeah.
So here, the father went around looking for his son Sukracharya and found the skeleton, which is dried up like a stick, and then birds nestled in the crevices, all sorts of things, rib cages like a cave, and all the beautiful eyes and everything gone. But worms began to abide there, and frogs under the body, spiders everywhere, um, you know, doing the webs. And after seeing him, he overcame with by the sorrow, and then he ultimately, at the untimely death of his son, he decided to curse the spirit of time. At that time, Kala, the time spirit, appeared before him in person, and they described the time spirit like, the time spirit is endowed with mystic beauty. 12 arms and for the 12 months, and 6 faces for the 6 seasons in India, and decked with ornaments, armor, and celestial weapons, all sorts of things. And he had a trident that had fire emanating from it. So, what's to sage Brugu, what time spirit said is, you need to know the truth without investigating into the truth of the matter. You are overcome by the delusion, and start committing a wrong towards us, towards me, actually.
Yeah. So you can see how even a great soul, like a direct mind-born son of Brahmaji, can be overcome with the anger, short temper. Okay. And so you can say that's not the excuse for us, but you can say how difficult it is to control our desires and anger. And so much more effort we need to put to control our senses and mind. So, so and it's because I feel it's because of his direct descendants from Brahmaji that even the time spirit, the supreme, came down to teach him. Hey, you shouldn't be trying to curse me because you compared to me you are like a little ant. Okay, that you won't be able to do anything to me, harm to me. So is Maya here today? No. Okay. Nag, you want to continue, sir? You finish the chapter.
Hari Om, sir.
Hari Om, sir.
Oh, sage, I follow the laws of the universe. I am not afraid of your curse. By pronouncing your curse on me, you will be destroying the merit that you have earned through your austerities. Oh, sage, you cannot affect me. I, who have swallowed endless series of creations, have even devoured many Brahmas, Shivas, and Vishnus. How can I be afraid of you? Every living being has two types of bodies, the physical and mental. The physical body is subject to death and destruction, but the mental body continues to exist until the attainment of liberation. O sage, why do you afflict your mental body? While you are absorbed in samadhi, your son left behind his physical body in order to follow the course of his mind. Just as a bird leaves behind its nest and flies into the sky, in the same way your son followed on Apsara with his mental body and having enjoyed celestial pleasures, continued to wander through many embodiments, led by his own vasanas, subtle desires, and having passed through numerous experiences of pleasure and pain. He has now incarnated as Vasudeva, the son of ascetic, and is now practicing austerity on the banks of Samanga River. See, like you said, Raghuji, even though Brihu had a samadhi for so many years, when he wake up, he is looking for his son. So, being in samadhi doesn't mean you are going to give up your worldly affliction. So, that is, Brihu is an example. He come out of so many years of samadhi, first thing he'll do is looking for his son. So much for the samadhi.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the other thing is, this story explained like the Laila story. Leela. The Sukracharya body is there, but the mind follows like Leela was making so many, Leela's husband actually making so many generations of birth and death. And here it is showing that Sukracharya is taking so many births. So,
right. Exactly. Very nice. Good comparison. Thank you. So you can say story is very similar, but the lesson that we have to learn is what is that we have to concentrate on here. So, and Rakesh ji.
Hari Om.
Sir.
Section 11:12, the word as mental sport. Time spirit continued. O sage, by the banks of the Samanga River, where the murmuring sounds of the waves continues to resound in the forest, your son is practicing austerity. He has developed matted locks and has Rudraksha mala for bracelets on his wrists. Do exercise your spiritual vision to see how the mental illusion of your son have led him to his present situation. Sage Bhrigu said, O divine being, you are the knower of the past, present, and future. You know the illusive powers of the mind. It was my conviction that my son was not going to die for one Mahakalpa, the day of Brahmas consisting of 1,000 cycles of the yugas. But seeing him dead at the early age, I was overcome by anger. Indeed, it was a great error on my part. Through my yogic vision, I witnessed bodies my son adopted by the force of his mental desires. I have also discovered my son by the banks of the Sangama River. It is now clear that the mind is in every individual is his greater reality. It is the mind that conceives and projects the physical body. The word process is experienced only as reflections in the mind.
Yeah.
Continue the same thing. He's talking about how he got so angry and then he said, I'm sorry, I got really upset because I thought my son's going to live through the Mahakalpa. But what he did, and he said, the mind is the whole thing, what it is. The yogic vision, he saw his son, what has gone through the different bodies, and because of the force of mental desires. So he said, the mind in every individual is his greater reality. It is the mind that conceives and projects the physical body. The word process is experienced only as reflection in the mind, because mind is everything, because what you perceive, you go through that. And that's what his son did, the Shukracharya. And then after the spirit did tell him, the time spirit, then he realized what he did and he said sorry for that. And he said, mind is the only thing that really reflection of the mind, what the word process is.
Yeah. Yeah. So you can see that we always pay attention to our physical body so much, morning till night, and eating and beautifying ourselves and all sorts of things, pleasures. But if we really understand, it is the mind. Without the mind, this body is dead. And so that's why in Vivek Sudamani, Shankaracharya says, average man thinks that he is the body, but an intelligent man thinks he is the jiva or the mind. Only an enlightened person knows that he is the Brahman. So at least we should know that it is the mind, and we should have good. If I am the mind, I should have good control of myself. That is me, the mind. And so, just like the a car is not me, but I still take care of the car good and I keep it under my control and driving. Same way, we should keep our body and senses under control. So that is the thing that we have to continue to understand. So I want to read a few verses from the other chapter. I thought it would be interesting. And let me see. He says, for though we know the course of things in the world, yet we are subjected to the impulses of joy and grief, owing to the causalities of prosperity and adversity. Moreover, to be angry with wrongdoers and to be pleased with those that act rightly have become the general rule in the course of the world. So long do we labor under the sense of what is our duty and what we must refrain from, as we are subject to the error of the reality of the world. But deliverance from this error removes all such responsibilities from us. When we fret at death without understanding its intention, that is, intended only for our good, we are, of course, blamable for it. I am not made to be acquainted by you regarding the thoughts of my son, and I am enabled also to see the whole scene on the bank of the Samaga river. Of the two bodies of man, the mind alone is the ubiquitous and leader of the outer world of animated being. The mind, therefore, is the true body which reflects and makes us conscious of the existence of ourselves as also of the exterior world. So I thought it will be interesting to read it. So we will continue. And
Guruji, I wanted to say one comment for Nag. He says so much for the samadhi. Guruji says, not Guruji, when I was listening, he was talking about that one. He said samadhi, most of the time, the regular samadhi you can get, through Ashtanga yoga, by breath control and by the yoga method and all that. You can stay in that samadhi state for a very, very, very long time. But when you get off of the samadhi, you are still the same person. But unless you have the knowledge, and then with the knowledge you go into samadhi, then there is the change in you and the moksha. But physically, just going into samadhi is not for the moksha.
good, very nice. Very nice observation. Thank you, Geeta. Ratnam, I want to
think it
continue.
is It is in the Viveka, the first chapter of Panchadasi, Swami Tejomayananda. He translated it, the first chapter of Panchadasi. It is there.
I
It
see.
is there. He does say that those regular samadhis, when you get out, you don't have the really realization. You're just getting out of the samadhi. That's all.
Yeah.
He clearly writes all that in that chapter.
Very nice.
Okay.
Good self-study. Thank you. And good memory.
Okay. Hari Om.
Okay. Go ahead, Ratnam.
Hari Om, Dr. Raghu. The time spirit said, O sage, your statement that the mind itself manifests as the body is indeed true. For just as a potter molds a pot, the mind molds the physical body. Yet, although the physical body has no reality in itself, when the mind is dominated by gross vision, it believes the body to be real. Yogis see this world as a mental projection. All objects of the world are as real as the thoughts of the mind. The vasanas are subtle desires of the mind that arise from avidya or ignorance, sustain the vision of difference and duality. The world process is nothing but an extension of these mental vasanas. Just as every wave in the ocean is nothing but the ocean itself, in the same way, every individual is essentially Brahman or the Absolute. Suppose a wave were to develop its own identity separate from the ocean and see itself rising to a state of prosperity in one moment and falling to a state of humiliation and destruction in the next. Suppose it were to be jealous of other waves that seems to flourish and succeed. In the same way, though every individual is essentially the ocean of perfect unity, yet it has developed the illusory notion of its separated existence and consequently its relationships and attitudes towards the other similar waves of individual personalities. Thank you, Dr. Raghu. Could you please explain this?
Thank you, Amma. So you can see how the time spirit is explaining that mind is the important thing in our body, our subtle body. Without the subtle body, this gross body is nothing. But when with our what do you call gross mind, we identify ourselves to be this gross body. That's called the gross mind, thinking I am this body. And then naturally we pay attention to this body. And anything that happens to the body, it happens to me. And with that gross mind, that you are identified with that individual self, and so anything that happens, even somebody criticizes you, then you get very angry. That is the typical avidya, and it is what the body and the mind does that accumulates all these vasanas or subtle desires which manifest themselves. But the third paragraph I liked. So I am an individual wave, and another person, let us say he is an enemy, is an individual wave. So if he dominates, I get depressed. If I dominate, I get exhilarated. Okay. But if you understand, hey, in this world process, I am just a little pawn in this world process, just like a little wave, and just like me, the other wave has come up, and other wave suppressed me and destroyed me. Okay, but still, I am just a pure water. So if I identified with the Atma, whatever happens to the body and mind, that I would not get upset. That is where we call the real knowledge and the equanimity coming out of that knowledge. So the one has to see the perfect unity in everything that we see, including our body, mind, and the intellect with this society. So, anybody want to add to that? I thought the paragraph was very, very extremely important. Okay, Shobhanama here, no. And Uma, and I'm sorry, Sudhirji.
Yeah, Hari Om, Guruji, please.
Hari Om.
Like a spider that weaves a cobweb and becomes entangled in it. So every individual is intrinsically the weaver of the cobweb of illusions in the form of repeated experiences of birth and death. Just as a silkworm creates a cocoon and encloses itself in it, in the same way, every individual creates his own bondages by the erroneous functions of his mind and then becomes entangled in it. But then, just as an elephant is able to break its fetters by the sheer force of its strength, so too the soul, by the force of wisdom, is able to break the fetters created by the mind and thereby frees itself from the world process. The self is infinitely free and led by the mind. Whatever it imagines that it becomes, just as in the rainy season, the expansive sky becomes covered with the dense clouds with the short time, in the same way, the self is able to project a world process within the twinkling of an eye.
You want to read one more paragraph?
Yeah. We speak of liberation with references to the individual soul only. However, the Supreme Self is ever liberated. Bondage and liberation belong to the individual alone. For when the illusions of the mind are overcome by the vision of the self, the individual discovers the fact that his very sense of individuality was but a mere dream, an illusory phenomenon.
Comment?
Yeah, it says that, so it is actually I think you always I think repeat I think somewhere some other classes that mind is the problem and mind is the solution. So it is that in the mind we actually create all these experiences or practice, whatever we are actually experiences in this world, all the issues, all the experiences in the world is also created by mind. The same mind is actually, and with the help of the wisdom, and we will be able to get out of this illusory world also. That is where also the mind is actually playing a role there. And and also later then Vasishaji says that self is infinitely free, and it is actually we should not be tying up with the individual. It is not that realized person realizes that he alone is there or he is that Brahman, right? So there, but in a, I mean, there only, Ravi, I got a confusion. They say the individual soul only. Liberation is actually for individual souls only. But later we say that that individual self itself is the Brahman, right? All, so that actually I need your help to, separate that. The individual discovers the fact that his very individuality is a mere dream. But we, as an individual, there's a kind of a I don't know, it is a conflict or whatever we are commenting. So I am there, you are there, and we say that we are part of it, and but they are only that we are all kind of an individual, reflected consciousness. Once you realize that reflection is not there, you are that, right?
Yeah.
Is the way we have to take it, Renji?
Well, the question is where your identification is. If your identification is with the Atman, then I am the pure self. Okay? Only I am manifesting through this body, mind, and the intellect, and interacting with the world. And with that knowledge, if I interact with the world, I have complete control of my mind and the body. But if I'm still practicing that to come to that stage that I am the self, then I'm still identified with the mind as a jiva. And so we continue to face the problems of the world, ups and downs of the world. And there's a constant practice that is needed. That's why we are discussing this Sthiti Prakarana. We have the intellectual knowledge, but we have to continue to practice it with Viveka, Vairagya, Shatka Sampatti.
So that means we kind of we always have to remind ourselves, right? This is some kind of a trigger.
Exactly. So that is the what you call mananam and nididhyasanam. That mainly for our stage it is nididhyasanam. We don't have any doubt that we are the Atman. Only if you have doubt, then we have to do constant reflection. How is it that I am the Atman? But I think we have gone beyond the Shravana Manana, and but even what we are studying and all that is nothing but Nididhyasanam. So that's why it said satsang and what do you call the sama and dama are extremely important. So very good. And Oma, Amma, you want to read?
Yeah. Just as numerous waves rise in the ocean, each reflecting the sun in a particular way, so too numerous souls have arisen from the Absolute, each experiencing the world in a particular manner. Some waves have become the deities of the heavenly worlds, such as Yama, Indra, Agni, and the rest, while others have become celestial beings such as the Gandharvas, the Vidyadharas, and other gods. Some waves arising from the ocean of Brahman have become human beings, while others have become birds, beasts, worms, insects, and other living creatures. It is ignorance operating through the mind that leads the soul through the manifold illusions of the world process. But when ignorance is removed, the way of the individual soul discovers its identity with the ocean of the Absolute. This is called liberation. Overpowered by ignorance, every individual creates a conditioning process of karma. Some have placed themselves in prosperous conditions, some in miserable conditions, some are pure souls and exist in the form of Lord Vishnu, Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, and others. Some still afflicted with the tinge of mental illusion are highly advanced and can attain self-realization through the slightest effort. Some are being driven away from their essential nature by the winds of desire and craving. Some are ascending to the great heights, some are descending to degrading depths. This is thus the spirit in those who are forgotten their essential nature continues to wander through the ocean of world process. Just as the elephant king in the Puranic story continued to fight with the crocodile for a long time, so too the soul continues to fight with the crocodile of illusion through numerous embodiments. But as this king elephant, when he focused his mind on Lord Vishnu, became free from the jaws of the crocodile, in the same way one becomes free from the world process by directing his mind to Brahman.
Yeah. Want to comment?
Here, in the first para, they say how the human beings are born. But second para says it's ignorant to to
That
ignorant.
forces into so many rebirths.
Yeah. And the last one, it says that we should if we focus on the Lord Vishnu, our jaws of free from the world process.
Right. Yeah. Very nice. Very good. Yeah. So you can see how it is. Whatever we are is the result of our own past karmas. And if somebody is rich and happy, it is because of his past karma. If somebody is extremely intelligent and honest, he is in past karma. If somebody is poor and miserable, it is his past karma. Okay. So, but it doesn't necessarily mean that each one will continue to be the same. Everything depends upon what we do in the present life. And so, I am what I am from the past, and what I do now will determine the future. And so, the various beings in this universe, starting from the gods, like even Vishnu, Shiva, and all that, the various jivas was gone to that stage. And of course, at the end of the Mahayuga, all those jivas like Vishnu, Shiva, Brahmaji, they become one with the total Brahman. But individual jivas like us will continue to be reborn again and again and again. And as we spiritually evolve ourselves, we continue to share that knowledge with others. But unlike a dull person who has become rich, they say, oh, it is I earned it, so I'm not going to share with anybody. But an enlightened person is completely free to share not only the wealth, because he has already shared everything away, and that's why he is not rich. And but whatever that he has, that knowledge that he continues to share, because he sees the oneness, and that is the spiritual progress. That's the spirit in those who have forgotten their essential nature continues to wander through the ocean of world process. So I think the last paragraph is very beautiful. So as long as the Gajendra continue to fight for with his own strength, as that he is the individual, okay, then he could not get out of that grasp of the crocodile. So just like the us, as long as we think that we are going to put our self-effort and get out, then we will continue to be involved in the world process. That surrender of our ego to Bhagavan, okay, that you are the soul master, not me, the individual, then that supreme power releases us from the world process of like the crocodile and time spirit. So very
And
nice.
basically, I think Panjali's Vivastra, that action also kind of a similar scenario, right? Initially,
Correct.
she was thinking of herself, and she is
Correct.
actually thinking. So finally, once initially she thought she will be helped by herself and trying to reason it. That didn't work out. Then she tried her help from her husbands and then relatives. Then only the Bhagavan finally
Yeah.
she actually called Krishna.
Yeah. Yeah. The Bhagavan is very democratic. As long as you think you can handle it, do it. And, I'm not going to interfere with you, whatever you want to do. But if you surrender it to me 100%, I'll definitely come and help you. But make sure that we, as individuals, when Bhagavan is helped, don't forget it. Then you forget Bhagavan and say, oh, I achieved it. So that is a mistake that we get into. If nothing has happened, then you blame Bhagavan. Bhagavan didn't help. Okay. Bhagavan helped. Okay. But he wanted to do what is right for you, not what you thought was good for you. So these are the things that we have to have that equanimity to reason out and live in this world. So we'll go to the section 13. Akilam. Oh, Vishwa is here. Vishwa, you want to read?
Hari Om Ragji.
Hari
Sorry,
Om.
I joined late.
Chapter 13.
Chapter 13. The time spirit explains the power of mind.
Go ahead.
The time spirit continued. All souls arise like wave from the ocean of Brahman. Of them, some destroy the veil of ignorance and master its illusory forces. They roam like gods on the earth until the termination of their prarabdha, fructification karmas. But others, being dull and insensitive like logs of wood, continue to whirl through the cycle of birth and death. There are still others in whom moha, or the illusion, exists in an attenuated form, and they are bound to attain liberation. When evil karmas of the past lose their hold over a person, his mind gradually becomes free of the impurities of pride, passion, anger, and greed. Although still in bondage, he develops aspirations for attaining self-realization, and this indeed makes him qualified aspirant to study the wisdom of scriptures. Continue, Raghuji.
Yeah, go on. If you want to finish it, finish it.
Just as vanishing mist gives rise to the revelation of the sky, in the same way, a mind in the process of attenuation and dissolution gives rise to the revelation of the self. It is only when the mind swells with erroneous thoughts and negative sentiments that it sustains the illusory projection of the world process. For just as the children are afraid of ghosts in the darkness of night, which are mere projections of their own fears, in the same way the ignorant project the world process that arise out of their own distracted minds. Every jiva or individual soul follows the course of the mind and its desires. Led by the mind in the experience, it experiences numerous births and deaths, ascends to the heights of heavenly enjoyment and descends to hellish misery. Let us not delay any more and proceed to where you son is engaged in austerities by the Samagna
River.
Samagna river. Yeah. So this section talks about the power of mind again, Raghuji. Like, what mind, what happens when a jiva is attaching itself to this BMI, and what happens as a result of where there is ignorance and it kind of is in the wheel of birth and death life cycle. So I think the first section talks about this the spirit, the three different levels of spirit, where one is already attained that godly state, and one is in ignorance, and then one is in pursuit of that. So this whole section talks about travels towards talking about the importance of not associating with this mind, and then negating the projections of this mind.
Yeah, I like
what,
that.
What is this last sentence? I didn't get, Raghuji. Whom does it is Swami Yogavasishta is?
No, the time spirit is talking to Bhrigu, has been giving the teaching.
Okay, maybe I didn't follow it. Sorry.
Right. And so now after giving the teaching, now both of them are going to go to see where the son is doing the tapas in that new body as a Brahmana.
But is Samanga river, is it a real river, Raghuji? It's in the sacred
Apparently,
land, or?
apparently, but I don't know where the Mandara mountain is and so Samanga river. So I have not gone into geography to see if something like that exists.
Are these mysteries of the greater plains of Himalayas, Raghuji?
I really don't know. I'm not going to guess.
Okay. Okay. Hari.
So probably Sudhir is going to go and Google and find out and let us know right away.
Yeah, I will do it. But I had a comment that second paragraph is actually talking about us, Raghuji.
Say it again.
The second paragraph is
Right.
something like, I say, when karma of the past of their holders, yeah? Okay.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
the
okay.
thing is,
I
are
was
you so
thinking of that,
sensitive like
probably we are
lots of
actually.
wood? If you are, then you wouldn't be studying the scriptures with in this study group.
Yeah, that is true.
So you are in the third group,
Right.
okay? But he didn't say you are bound to attain liberation. He didn't say right in this life. But if you continue to this sadhana and if you have intensified it, and if that is the major part of your vasanas, when the body drops, you continue to do the sadhana in the next body, being born in the right family with conducive circumstances. But
Okay.
that is the thing. If you continue to the sadhana, the next paragraph says, then the evil karmas of the past lose their hold. Because you have determined to be going inwards towards the source. And then all these things like pride, passion, greed, and anger, gradually they dissolve because then you start developing that humility and starts seeing the oneness uh, in all the world, and he develops aspiration for self-realization. So all of us are in the same path, but each one has at different stages. Everything depends upon how much vairagya we have to the world, or how much attachment we still have to the world. So that third paragraph is beautiful, giving the example of vanishing mist. So our mind is like a mist. We are confused, we are ignorant, okay, that I am this body. So as this mist of ignorance gradually dissolves from constant study and contemplation, then we realize that pure Aham, Atma, Ahamasmi. So,
Okay, a comment about I found out something about Samanga River. Samanga River is actually the one, actually the river actually removed all the Ashtavakra, sage Ashtavakras,
oh,
all
is it?
the,
Oh,
yeah, it is that.
so
And also it's a river actually, there is a place called Samanga, the river in the Samanga, that is what it is called.
I see.
Samanga.
Okay, good. Thank you. Akilama, want to continue?
Adiyam Raghuji. Section 14. Shukracharya is awakened from Samadhi. Sri Vasishta continued, O Rama, having conversed on the powers of the mind, the time spirit and sage Bhrigu both descended from the Mandarachala mountains and proceeded towards the banks of the Samanga river. After passing through the most enchanting spectacles of nature, they finally reached the banks of the river. There, they saw Shukracharya in a different personality and absorbed in samadhi. His senses were withdrawn and his mind calm and steady. Like a weary traveler, he had traveled through many embodiments, but now he was resting in his spiritual nature. The time spirit awakened the Brahmin Vasudeva. He gradually opened his eyes and beheld before him two spiritual beings shining like the sun and the moon. Rising from his meditative pose, he bowed at the feet of the two divine personalities and expressed his immense joy at their presence. Sage Brigu urged the Brahmin to remember his past and to recall how he was Shukracharya, his son, who has wandered through many embodiments and has presently adopted the personality of the Brahmin, Vasudeva. The young ascetic then directed his intuitive vision toward the mystery of his identity and was amazed to discover the fact that, led by the desires of his mind, he had passed through numerous embodiments. He remembered having enjoyed not only royal pleasures and wonderful conditions of life, but also great misery as well. But now he realized that he had developed spiritual insight into the illusoriness of the world process.
Very good.
So here, the sage Vasishta is telling Sri Rama about how Shukracharya was born again and how he was meditating there and was in samadhi, and he got the vision, the not the vision but the darshan of these two great personalities, his father in his previous birth and Kaladeva, and how he bowed to them, and how he was able to go back and remember who his father was from births before, and how he had taken different births because of his past vasanas, the desires of the mind.
Right.
And he went through numerous embodiments.
Right. Yeah. So though he was such a pure soul, born to Bhrigu, that because of this mind being attracted to a beautiful Apsara, that he went through so many ups and downs of life. So whatever the mind desires, that it will follow. And then naturally, he had to go and enjoy the results of his mind.
But is all this not in Bhrigu's mind?
Say it again.
Is Shukracharya not a creation in Bhrigu's mind? In sage Bhrigu's mind?
No. Once these Sapta Rishis were born from the mind of Brahmaji, okay. All these people, I know, all these rishis have wives. And where do the wives come from? Don't ask me. I'm not good in Puranas. Okay? And those wives, with the wives, they have children. So you have to go back to Purana to see who is the wife of Prugu.
I understand, Raghuji, but when we were reading earlier and we found out that even Saraswati was in the mind, right, of
Right.
Leela and everything.
Right.
So, with that concept, I'm asking, is not all this in the mind of Sage Bhrigu? Does he really have a child and does he do it? Is it really happening?
Well, if you look at from the absolute level, yes. Okay. But here we are in the relative world. At the relative world, yes. Bhrigu considered himself as an individual rishi, and as directed by his father Brahmaji, that his duty was to create the beings. And so that he had to go and have children.
But Raghuji, whatever happened to Shukracharya's was in his mind, right?
Yeah, the thing, no, not just the mind. Whatever the mind that happened, it dropped the body and it got reborn in different worlds. It went, because of his purity, he was able to be reborn in the heavenly worlds. and he was able to travel even in the Indraloka. And you saw that he was even received by Indra, and then he went to see the Apsaras, and because of his purity, that he was able to travel all those places.
But
And
his
then,
body was left here.
yeah, body was left. Yeah, only the jiva.
Only the, yeah.
But so we have to assume that he had developed a subtle body to be able to live in those heavenly worlds. You cannot go in the grass body. But what happened? Since he got attracted to the Apsara and he got into the bodily pleasures, okay, all his punya got exhausted. Punya of the austerities. And so he had to come back to the earth to be born in various bodies.
But even enjoying those bodily pleasures was in his mind, was not really there because his body still dropped.
No, you have to understand this way. When you are enjoying, let us say, mango, okay, understand your hand is putting mango in the mouth, and mango, the tongue is tasting and all that. But who is really enjoying? It is the mind who is enjoying. Okay? And all the other things, body, hand, and the tongue, they are all just the instruments for enjoyment. Same way, but here, anytime that you go to Narakaloka, you get a special body to experience that experience of the Naraka. Same way, you get a special body to experience the pleasures of the heavenly world. But all those, because of the Papa Karmas and Punya Karmas, they are all transitory. And so then you have to come back to the earthly world. And in the earthly world, so depending upon, you again, are you going to get entangled in the pleasures of the world and continue to go down, 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 or are you going to do the punya karmas and again start growing spiritually? So those are all the various confusing things that each soul, depending upon its past, what you call sanchita karmas that are fructifying, that each one experiences differently. That's how I understand it. And so because of that punya karmas, he was even he experienced as a king. And then apparently he must have lived a good life as a king, and then he was born as a son of a Brahmana. And there then he continued to do the austerities, and that's where he meets with this past father. So the first father, that is Bhrigu. So the story is getting complicated. We will see, continue. So, okay, Anjaneyulu sir, you want to continue? What happened? I thought Anjaneyulu was here. Okay. Dinesh, want to continue, sir?
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Section 15. The Brahmin sees his previous body as Shukracharya. Shri Vasishta continued. The three of them then
Are you
proceeded.
supposed to read which one?
Section 15.
No, he's right.
Section 15. The Brahmin sees his previous body as Shukracharya.
Yeah.
Page
okay.
158.
Okay, I thought I was still in 14. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Shri Vasishta continued. The three of them then proceeded to where the remains of Shukracharya were in the Mandrachal mountain. Adopting their yogic powers, they flew through the sky and emerged through the clouds at the exact spot where the body was. The Brahmin saw his skeleton covered with green leaves. The Shukracharya in the Brahmin embodiment said, "O Father, This is my dried up and inert body, which you had nourished and sustained by providing food, comfort, and enjoyment. This is the body that received so much affection. This is the body that was loved by the celestial Apsara, but now it lies barefoot of all its charms. This, the very body that once roamed through groves of sandalwood trees, now lives as an ugly skeleton crawling with worms. O my beloved body, you are now called dead. At one time, you bloomed with youthfulness, but now you strike fear in my heart. Behold how you were once adorned with a golden necklace that shone like the stars, but now ants infest your neck and chest.
Yeah. Want to comment?
It's basically describing the previous birth where because of his prarabdha and his karmas, he was taken over by the attraction of the apsara, and as a result, he experienced what is being described here. You know, the one thing comes to mind as we were reading this, we are all evolving as individual souls, and I like to think we are moving closer to our destination. However, time to time, we do get tested, and the tests may come in the form of doing the right thing. And sometimes, at least from my personal experience, I find myself doing the right thing, but at other times, I also find myself doing the wrong thing, and therefore I'm a work in progress. Hari Om.
Yeah, that's a good enlightened view of looking at one's own self. Instead of finding excuses and all that, you are evaluating constantly as as you are doing it. Hey, this is a wrong decision. I shouldn't be doing it. So that's the only way that next time we can correct ourselves. So thank you for sharing. So
Thank
You
you.
become the Sakshi Bhava, right? In that case.
pardon?
So basically, in that case, you are becoming the witness conscious. As long as you develop that vairagya to become the witness consciousness, then obviously there is more awareness.
Yeah. The only thing in this 3 paragraphs that you read that I'm confused is he's telling that body that this is the body that was loved by the celestial Apsara, but now it lies bereft of its charms. So is it when she saw him that she got attracted to him, but they really did not have any bodily enjoyment together. That's how I understand it. Only when he followed her to the celestial world, then he was able to enjoy. So,
But Raghuji, how I would this is Bhrigu was saying that Sukracharya saying that the fallacy of the body, right? This body was actually there. Now you are actually saved me there, kept there, and he got angry for that body. He's just showing his father saying that this is the body you are cried for. This is the body. All these apsaras actually fell in love. Those things that just to show the the illusoriness of the, or else the, how I'll put it,
yeah,
illusoriness of the body, right? That is what,
the
right?
illusiveness of the body and the world, correct. But the story is going to get complicated. We will continue to read. Okay?
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Okay. And Dinesh read, and Karpagam, you want to continue? Amma?
You are now free from the evil spirit of chitta, mind stuff. You are no longer shaken or driven by the monkey mind. You no longer suffer from the fever of desires. You are no longer interested in seeing the sights around you. No longer do you want to hear the roaring of the lions the trumpeting of the elephants, or to see the curious events of the forest life. Sri Vasishta said, O Rama, under the divine plan, Sukracharya had to exist in a body as the son of sage Bhiru. But because his mind had led him astray from his normal course of life, Shukracharya was amazed to see how things had come to pass. The ignorant as well as the wise must both live through the body as determined by their prabharta karma,
Prarabdha karma.
prabharta karma, fructifying action of the past. While illuminated sages living in their bodies remains detached from the world, thereby not creating karmas for future embodiments, ignorant souls continue to create new karmas and therefore bind themselves down to future embodiments.
Comment?
You go ahead.
Okay. So you can see, apparently the time spirit knows the in and outs of that Brahmana, who is actually Shukracharya. So, having gone through all the vasanas and at last being born in as a son of a Brahmana, and then the tapas, apparently all his vasanas have dissolved. That is free from the evil spirit of the chitta, that is the mind. So he's not going to go through any ups and downs of likes and dislikes, desires and hatreds and all that. And so he is actually ready for illumination. And so, according to the divine plan, when Shukracharya was born as the son of Bhrigu, he was supposed to live for the whole, what do you call that, Mahayuga, or something like that.
Mahakalpa.
Kalpa. Okay. And so, but being drawn by the vasanas, that he got diverted and he got born into this different bodies. And so we will see what happens now. Okay. And Mano Naidu, continue.
When the mind of the sage has given up its longings for objects of the world, then neither can the actions of the body nor the functions of the senses create further bondage for him. Thus, though outwardly acting in this world, a sage is inwardly detached and free. Thus, knowing, O Rama, do not fall into the pit of the world process that abounds with physical and mental afflictions. You are not contained in this illusory body, nor does this body abide in you. You are essentially the Supreme Self. This entire universe is in reality the Supreme Self. Having torn the veil of illusion, abide in your essential nature, which is unbounded, greater than the greatest, and adored even by the greatest of gods. Here, pretty much, they're saying about the mind of the sage has given up the sage. We are talking about the Sukracharya also. He had given up all the attachment with the objects of the world, and there is functions of the senses and the actions of the body is the one that really binds you into bondage, but he has given up all that. And outwardly acting in the world, the sage is not really inwardly attached to anything outside. He is totally detached and free. And Vasishta is saying to Rama that he wants him to not to fall into pit of the world process and then contained in this illusory body, and this body, not does this body abides in you, like Gurudev says, live in the body, not as a body. You are essentially the supreme self. So this entire universe is really the supreme self, and torn away the veil of the illusion and abide in your own essential nature. And that is what it is, greater than the greatest and adorned even by the greatest gods.
Yeah, yeah. Beautiful presentation. Thank you, Ma. So you can see Rama, according to the story here, is still not enlightened. Intellectually, he has that vairagya and mumukshutvam, and he has been enlightened in the previous chapter by Utpatti Prakarana intellectually, but that knowledge has to become firm. And so that's why the story is given to show how even the Krupacharya went through ups and downs because of the vasana attachment to the apsara, and but then he became completely pure by constant tapas and austerity. Just like that, you also become pure. So you can see how beautifully, with examples of stories like this, that he's teaching us that we have to constantly be aware of the chances for fall, as one of you said in the last hour. And so, unless we do it, it's hard. Okay, that's another thing. I want to take a side view. I was watching the interview of the Swami Mitranandaji by another person, and in that, Mitranandaji is remembering his experiences with Shrimananda Swamiji. And Mitranandaji was still a uninitiated young chick, or a, what do you call it, Yukendra member, and he was that was in 1990, 91, something like that. And Swamiji sometimes used to go on a wheelchair, and he was taking Swamiji on a wheelchair in Uttarkashi around, and around the ashram. And Swamiji immediately asked, "Do you do japa?" And so he said, "Yes, Swamiji." And he said, on whom do you do the japa? So he hesitatingly said, on you, Swamiji. And so immediately Chinmaya Swamiji said, never do a japa on a living person.
Why?
And he explained, okay, there's always a chance for the person to fall. Okay. And yeah, you consider himself as great, and then you start doing the japa, and then a few years later, suddenly you find out that person had a fall, like a fall into love with somebody or lied or things like that. Then your mind, which was put that person in such a high pedestal, okay, you don't know what to do. And so you can see how Chinmaya Swamiji, though he is a great realized person, that was only about 2-3 years before he dropped the body, he didn't want anybody to do take his name for the japa. So it's something that we have to remember as a lesson for others. And so that's what he was. The reason I brought it up here is to show that even people in great spiritually evolved people can fall down, and so one has to be constantly be aware. So we have seen that stories off and on, fortunately not frequently, but we see that one. So okay, and then I think Nag is supposed to read next, I guess.
Section 16. Sukracharya enters his original body and lives as a liberated sage. Sri Vasishta continued, O Rama, interrupting the lamentations of Sukracharya, the time spirit said, O son of Brihu, discard this body of yours that you have been using to practice austerity by the Samanga river and enter into your previous body, even as a king enters his royal city. The cosmic will has ordained you to be the guru, preceptor of the demons. May you take up this magnanimous role and guide the demonic race. At the end of the Mahakalpa, the day of Brahma, you may renounce this body like a withering flower and attain Videka Mukti, liberation without the body. May God guide you and your father, sage Bhrigu. I must now hasten to the performance of my duties, thus saying the time spirit disappeared. Having understood the nature of his karmic process, Shukracharya then renounced the body of Brahmin Vasudeva and entered his original body as the son of sage Bhrigu. Immediately the body of Vasudeva trembled and fell, like a creeper cut at its roots. Then sage Bhrigu, along with the chanting of mantra, sprinkled water on the skeleton to facilitate the re-entry of his son spirit into the original body. Soon the skeleton began to change. Veins appeared and the pranas began to flow, like a withering plant that comes back to life through the aid of the life-giving rain. In the same way, the body passed through many changes and came back to life. Can you go ahead, finish it?
Yeah, finish it up.
Soon the body became well formed and consciousness returned to it. Having regained his previous body, Sukracharya stood up and adored his father with a voice as deep as a rumbling cloud. Sage Bhrigu felt a new surge of affection as he embraced his son, though by his inward vision he saw the illusoriness of the realities of the world. In the course of time, Sukracharya accepted the role of becoming the preceptor of the demon race, and even now he continues to perform that role. And though performing this duty, Sri Sukracharya ever abides in the self and is ever detached from the world process.
Want to comment?
So this is the so this is the Shukracharya and the Chukra in our horoscope. So I was wondering all along when the name Shukracharya comes, I know Shukracharya is the demon guru. So I didn't connect this guy is going to become the demon guru.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah, that's the reason I didn't want to tell this story. I wanted you to get gradually, you people get to know the whole story, how it is flowing. So, you want to comment?
Well, if we think deeper into that, it's getting more and more confused. So,
Yeah. So, yeah, the thing that I couldn't understand is, did you have to go to that, say, the old body to become Shukracharya? Since you are at your subtle body is not the gross body, couldn't you not continue as a Shukracharya there? So that question has not been answered to in my mind, has not been clear. And so he had to recreate that old body and then enter into that body to become real Shukracharya. So, but at the same time, we know from even in this present life world, there are stories about a person who had been dead for 3-4 days, was brought back to life and things like that. And so I'm not too much concerned about how that dead body who was only skeletons came to life. So knowing the illusoriness of the thing, that a person who is enlightened, that of Bhrigu or time spirit, that they can destroy something or they can create something. So
See, one thing I noticed, Raghuji, the power of mind. Even though the divine will is to make Sukracharya the guru of demon, Sukracharya, by his mind power, he went to the celestial world, spending time with Apsara, and so he got diverted his life into a different path.
Right.
So the mind power is so much that he can even overpower the divine will.
Yeah.
That's strange and
Exactly.
really scary.
Right. So that's why we should be extraordinarily careful and continue to do our sadhana. And one way that I feel is don't expose yourself. Say, oh, it's okay to go to this. It's okay to go to the movie. It's okay to go and see this video. It's okay to go and to the parties. It's okay to go and do this like that. So we have to restrict ourselves to, but particularly when we are doing the sadhanas, so from all these worldly entertainments, because otherwise the mind gets drawn away and your mind becomes more agitated. You're not able to concentrate. You're not able to meditate. You're not able to. You are wasting your time instead of spending your time in satsang. So these are the things that we need to continue to uh, re-evaluate in our old selves and see what are the priorities of my life at this stage of life. So
One more thing, I actually felt that, Sukracharya is we always say Asuras are actually bad, but he is actually nominated to the guru of the Asuras, and he is playing the role while detaching from, while performing the duty, detaching from that particular, detaching from that Asuras, I think all
right.
those bad, bad influence probably.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought it up. So he was enlightened soul, but as disdained by the divine will that he was supposed to be the guru of the Daityas. And he was still living at the time of Lord Rama's birth. So,
Bhrigu has 5 wives, not one wife.
good.
5 wives and 7 children.
7 children. Okay. I'm glad you investigated like
I looked through that.
Even Shukracharya is also called as Bhrigu only, right? Bhrigu, his son is also, I think I heard that. Then only it is.
No, he's not called a Bhrigu, he's called a Bhargava.
Okay.
Bhargava.
Yeah,
Okay.
Are we talking about Shukracharya, the
Bali Chakravarti,
Bali
yeah.
Chakravarti's
Story.
Correct.
story?
Correct.
He advised him not to give the boons.
Right. So that's why, just like Vasishtha Rishi was the Rishi, starting from the Brahmaji, Vasishtha Rishi was one of the Sapta Rishis, just like Bhrigu. And he was the guru for all these ancestors of Lord Rama, the whole dynasty, starting from the Sun dynasty. The same way here, the Shukracharya is the guru of all these Daitya Parampara. And he was supposed to live. And he was the guru even for, what do you call, Prahlada.
Was Yogavasishta not was born in the later stages? Is it like?
Yeah, correct. It's in Dwapar Yuga.
Okay.
Yeah, Vedavyasji was supposed to be one to great grandson
Narayana.
of Vasishtha Rishi.
Sorry, Raviji. Sorry.
Great grandson of Vasishtha Rishi.
Oh, great grandson.
Vasishtha Rishi was Shakti, from Shakti to Parashara, Parashara to Vyasa Rishi. So that's why in there's one sloka, I think, in introduction in the Vishnu Sahasranam that talks about the Vyasa Rishis.
This Bhrigu only has got an eye in his feet or something, right?
Yeah, Bhrugu, yes, correct. Correct. Very good. So we'll stop here, and there will be no satsang next week because Swami Ramakrishnananda will be here in Alpharetta Center. Okay. And so those who are free can want to come, you can attend the satsang. He's talking about the episodes from Mahabharata in Alpharetta from Monday to Thursday. I'm sorry, Sunday to Thursday, and from Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, he will be in the our Chinmay Niketan. And so he will be here for a full week. So take advantage, and if you can attend, and he will be talking about Viduranuti, Viduraniti in Chinmay Niketan for 3 days. Okay.
But what you have sent, you sent it from 31st to 2nd. You didn't put the 30th, Raghuji.
Oh, good.
I'll look it up, Mama.
Yeah, that's
No,
what I
Manu,
Did I say
Manu,
31st?
30th is still in Gurukul. Only 31st, 1st and 2nd is in Niketan.
That is what, but right now he is saying 30th. That is the reason why.
No. It is from 31st, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Yeah,
that's what
Yeah.
I know. 31st, 1st, 2nd.
Yeah.
Okay.
31st is Friday.
31st is Saturday. Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
No. 31st is Friday.
31st is Friday.
31st is Friday.
Then Confucius.
Friday.
Got it.
Anyway, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Friday from 7 to 8:30. Saturday there are 2 sessions. I think like a 4 to 5:30, and then again 6 to 7:30, something like that. And then on Sunday is actually in the middle of the day, morning. So. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayah, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate, Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo. Hari Om. Hari Om.
Hari Om, everyone.
Hari Om, everyone.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om, Geeta.
Hari Om, Raghuji. Hari Om, Geeta ji.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.